Hi, everyone. I'm here with Sarah Welch-Larson, who is the author of a book on alien and theology that is coming out sometime in 2021.
In the very near future.
In the very near future.
Academic publishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I had a chance to read an advanced copy of it, and it's awesome. And so here's what happened. A lot of you know I did this like very silly horror sort of March Madness, except I called it Monster Madness and Halloween tournament. And the alien, like, it wasn't even close. Like, none of the tournaments that the alien was in were close at all. Like, the voting was always very heavily skewed towards the alien. And I honestly thought the final was going to be Pennywise versus the alien, so I was a little nervous for our Xenomorph friend. But Sarah, I know you were kind of watching and you sent me messages here and there about it. Like, how did you feel? Like, were you ever worried that the alien was not going to triumph?
Oh no, the alien rules supreme. If the alien gets loose, all of humanity dies. So of course the alien was.
Yeah, that's what we know, right?
It was a foregone conclusion.
So I wanted to bring you on just because I thought it would be fun to talk about why the alien is the queen of horror. So when did your love with this franchise begin?
Oh my gosh. I want to say like sophomore year of high school. Aliens was on TNT. And so like I remember watching like a sort of censored version of like the boardroom scene in Aliens and being like, this Sigourney Weaver person seems pretty cool. And then the first time I actually watched Alien, the rest of my family, I'm going to put them on blast a little bit. The rest of my family had watched it as a family movie night while I was out babysitting. So I come back from babysitting 10:30 at night, and they have to return the DVD to the library like in the next couple of days. So I was like, I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to watch this movie. Like I know Ripley makes it to the end, so how hard can it be? I'm in the like living room of my house. Everybody else is asleep. Lights are out. And I'm just watching this movie for the first time. Changed my life. Scared me so badly. I was turning lights on across the house as I was going to bed at 1. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then like it sort of just got its hooks into me, and I haven't really been able to shake any of the series since. So I love all of the Alien movies to some degree or another. Some of them I have a little bit of a harder time with, but
well, and this is something that's interesting. I thought it was interesting in the introduction to your book. Like you make a case because the alien mythology at this point is sprawling across not only different movie franchises like Predator, but even across different genres. So like different genres of media, right?
So, yeah, like comic books and like novelizations. And I think there's like an Alan Dean Foster novel floating around or something like that.
Right?
Yeah, because of course there is.
So how did you decide, like when you're setting about to write a book on the alien, like why did you choose just the films, including Covenant and Prometheus?
I think it was because those were the ones that had the clearest, like, these are definitely about the alien instead of like what could have been, like what might have been. Like a lot of the comic book versions, which the few ones that I have read are great. A lot of them almost feel like offshoots of like alternate universes or alternate realities. So I decided to stick with something that like most people would have an entryway to that really gets at the idea of what the Alien franchise is all about. And then if I've done my work right, the theory should still apply pretty well to everything else. So
you're setting out to just sort of like blaze the trail for alien theology. I like it. Yeah,
exactly.
And how did you come to? So Catherine Keller is a fantastic theologian, and you chose her text, "Faces of the Deep."
Face of the Deep, theology of becoming. Yes.
Yeah. So how did you land on that text? I want to ask a couple of questions about it, but it works so beautifully for this film series.
My husband recommended her, actually. So my husband has an MDiv from Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary. And so every time I'm like wrestling with a problem or something, he usually recommends a theological text that he thinks that I would like. And he was very right about this particular one. I just sort of glommed onto her ideas, and I've been thinking about it ever since. So.
I really enjoyed in the first chapter where you deal with the first film, Alien, 1979, where you talk about Keller's understanding of the deep or the watery depths as something that's not inherently evil, but something that is invited to become.
Yes.
And then what I'd love for you to comment a little bit on is, I think it's brilliant how by starting there, you're able to talk about this movie that has one very obvious monster in the alien, but then one like well, it's obvious by the end, but the company and mother kind of like creepingly show up to be a monster, and you're able to, I thought, really brilliantly talk about how those are ultimately the same kind of evil, even though they look so different. Could you like talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit?
Yeah. So one of the ideas in Face of the Deep, which ultimately is a refutation of the doctrine of creation ex nihilo, which is really interesting. One of the points that she makes in this work is that when God created the world out of this deep of possibility, God was making it possible for created beings to have interrelations with each other. And so the ultimate expression of evil would not necessarily be like violence or anything like that. It would be the denial of the interrelations of other created beings, and a denial of the possibility that those relationships come with. So the alien is kind of an obvious illustration of that, right? Because like it denies the humanity of each person that it comes in contact with. It covers their face. It turns them into a walking cradle for its young. But the company and Ash and Mother all do the exact same thing as well. They just do it in much more insidious ways because all they know how to do is just exploit and to turn human beings into tools for their own designs. So that meshes quite nicely, I think, with Keller's theology.
It really
too.
does. And again, folks, like when you get your hands on this book and read it, it's really, you do a great job with it. So,
Thank you.
so what do you think is so scary about the alien? Like, how is this the thing that won out of all of I mean, not that this was a scientific poll or anything, but again, I don't think either of us is actually a number of people messaged me saying they weren't at all surprised that the alien went all the way. So,
Oh yeah.
and it did go all the way. So like, why? Like, why compared to Freddy Krueger, compared to, Michael Myers, compared to the Candyman, like, why is the alien the thing?
Yeah, it's interesting because all of those other monsters and villains are so iconic too. But I think the alien is a creature that kind of lends itself really well to the interpretation of whoever it is that's watching it. Like the alien kind of adapts to whatever host body it's inside, and it also adapts to whoever else it is that's watching it and whatever interpretations that they might bring. So I think that partly makes it really scary. The other thing is that it defies physics and it defies, I don't know, like the rules of the world around it in some interesting ways. Like it grows really quickly. It's kind of terrifying. You don't really know where it is or how it, like, if it's around at all. And that's a genuinely scary thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I have to share, sort of by way of wrap up, my first exposure to the Alien franchise was Spaceballs.
Oh my gosh. It's a different one. Yeah.
It really is. And you have that scene in the diner where the guy falls over and the chest burster comes out and does a little song and dance.
And it's John Hurt. Like,
Oh,
that's John Hurt.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Of course. Yeah.
Because he says, no, not again.
And it's a wonderful gag, but and it's so strange. It's sort of like you and I are both of the age that, like, did you have a moment where you didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke's father?
No, I always knew.
See, same here, right? I don't remember when I knew, but I just sort of always knew. And for me, that's very much how the Alien franchise was. Like, that's the first thing I ever saw was Spaceballs, but I already knew, like, why it was funny, like why it was a gag and what it was spoofing, even though I had never seen any of that franchise, right?
Yeah. I always knew that the chest burster was a thing, and I always knew that the alien was a thing. I didn't know about Ash the first time I watched it, so that was a little bit of a shock. But yeah, for sure.
So I just think that speaks to how, like you said, how ubiquitous this thing has become, how iconic it is. So, Sarah's book is called Becoming Alien. Is it even up for pre-order yet? What's the
No,
status
it's not
of
up for pre-order. It'll be available on Cascade Books' Real Spirituality monograph page. And I will, of course, be plugging it constantly as it gets
so where
out.
if folks don't follow you, where are the best places to follow what you do?
Well, conveniently, my handle on the internet is the same everywhere. It's Dodgy Boffin. That's DODGYBOFFIN, all one word. And I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Letterboxd. So if you're a movie buff like I am, I yell about movies constantly over there. And then you can also find my work and links to my work at my website, which is also conveniently dodgyboffin.com.
Excellent. Do you have anything in the works right now, like at Think Christian or anything?
Not at Think Christian, although I did recently write a piece about Untitled Goose Game.
That's
and
right.
creation, which was a lot of fun to write. I love taking silly things seriously. And then this upcoming month, I have a piece for Bright Wall Dark Room coming out that is actually also about Alien. It's about alien resurrection, specifically as farce, just minus the theological points. So
Excellent. And you also contributed to the psalms, pop
yes.
psalms essays, right?
Yeah, there's an ebook put out by Think Christian about 6 weeks ago, I think, and it's pop songs. And I wrote about U2 and their song One, and the Psalms and Psalms of Lamentation. So, yep.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to try to put links to all of those that I can in the comments down there or over there or wherever you're watching this. But Sarah, thank you so much for giving me a few minutes to talk about Alien. And folks, don't worry, when this book comes up for pre-order, I will let you know. If you're a horror person, a theology person, this is some of the, like, this is why this genre, weird little genre, exists, is for books like this. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Jared. This was fantastic.
All right. Let us know what you think of Alien, which is your favorite, maybe your first encounter with it as well. We can't wait to hear why it scares you so much too.
Mhm.